Hi everybody, and a warm welcome back to Maple Leaf Customs in Switzerland. I'm Andrew, and on the bench today is a 1 to 34 scale Welly 1972 Volkswagen Bus T2. This is part of a series of Welly vehicles in a larger scale that I can buy at a discount store across the border in France. It's a little bit bigger canvas to work on, especially this one as a camper van, and a bit easier on these old eyes. It's got a sliding door on the side, a sticky one. Can't see too much of the benches on the interior, but in this slightly larger scale it's very nicely detailed. You can usually find enough information stamped on the bottom of the chassis to do sufficient internet research on any of these castings. And it's a pullback toy. Should be lots of fun. This is my entry to the Diecast International Builders August Invitational. The theme is any VW, and I set this one aside for today quite some time ago. So get all coffeeed up and let's go. Personal note of thanks to Welly for putting screws in their castings, and I don't have to drill anything out, so the bottom pops off quite easily. And after a little bit of sleuth work, I found 2 more screws inside that hold the roof on. There's the pullback assembly, regular front axle, and a nicely detailed plastic chassis. The roof has tabs in the front and those 2 secret screws in the back. Wow, this one-piece plastic interior seems huge after working on the 164 models. Die-cast body. The one-piece molded glass seems to be pretty secure. Probably a dangerous maneuver if I attempt to remove that, so I'm going to leave it in. I've heated up my soldering iron because the headlights and the taillights and the bumpers front and back have some plastic rivets in them that most easily come apart if I just melt them away from the inside, like so. A little word of advice: if you've got any model that has this many extra pieces, do yourself a favor and put them all in a little Ziploc bag like this for safekeeping. If I don't do that, they will go AWOL. I promise you. Goodbye, flower power. And hello, bare metal underneath. It's all systems go in the early stages of this customization. I want to remind you of what's coming up on my channel. I've got 2 more videos in my summer road trip series and this crazy mashup between a Bugatti and a Gasser, the Bugasser. So I invite you to get all subbed up and hit that notification bell and stay tuned for all of the good stuff that's coming. This bare metal detail step serves a couple of purposes. Number 1, it removes any residual paint that the paint stripper doesn't get away, and it prepares the surface for priming and painting. It's at this point that I give it a pretty careful inspection and look for defects that need my attention. This week's community shout-out goes to MJG Diecast, another fairly new channel that I'd like to direct your attention to. Follow the link in the description, please. Let's show some diecast love and help a new creator and YouTuber get some traction and have a really good start to his new channel. I remember how exciting it was to amass those first couple of 100 subs, and imagine people from all around the world are watching your work. Thanks for doing that. Here's a hint of what might be coming with the T2 bus. I've laid down some rust-colored primer. Now I'm going to spray on some AK Interactive heavy chipping fluid. This is a transparent product that goes on top. I've shown you this using hairspray as a cheaper alternative to this. I'm mixing up my own baby blue, period correct color for the T2 bus. That goes on top of the rust primer and on top of the chipping fluid. And I give it 2 good coats, just like I would if this was going to be my permanent top coat, but this is the look I'm going for. It's an extreme weathering project today. All you need to do is moisten the top coat of paint. I use a toothbrush, lightly agitate it. It doesn't take any pressure from you, and little by little, you'll see the top coat come away and reveal a very natural looking rust pattern. You can use any tool to do this. There was a paint applicator. It's a strangely satisfying process. It's fun to watch it too. Look at that. That's the first step. Stage 2, I take a burr tool on my Dremel and I go back down to bare metal in the places where I think it would be most heavily rusted. And with a caution advisory, this is iron 3 chloride. Mine is only 40%, so it's not going to burn a hole through you, but if you leave it dipped in there about 10 minutes, I'm in the spray booth, masked up, and the ventilator fan running. Let it do its thing. All kinds of science is happening. Rinse it off in clear water, and wherever you went down to bare metal is now actually been corroded. You'll get an even more realistic looking rust effect. You'll be able to see it clearly, up close and personal pretty soon. Making sure everything still fits together and slides open and closed as it should. All systems are go. Moving on. I like my Vallejo products. This is a rust wash that can be measured in drops. All I'm doing here is basically tracing the rust pattern that was created by the chipping effect. I don't want to lose all of my blue, but this almost is like a shadow on the rust. Gives it a little more depth. I presume that bottle of rust wash is going to last me forever because it only takes a very little. If you went on too heavy, take a Q-tip while it's still wet and just dab it off. Nobody's ever going to tell you you made a mistake on your rust pattern. Now I'm mixing some orange and some brown together to sort of a mottled orange and a sponge. Dab it off on a paper towel. I'm just going to press this in here and there. It's almost imperceptible. But when you get up close and look at this, you're just getting great freckles of rust all over. Use a darker color here. And now black wash on the white roof just to give it a dirty rainwater effect. That will naturally pool up wherever it wants to. I go along the rain gutters also. Typhus corrosion is a nice product. It has a 3D effect to it. It goes on really thick and leaves a natural looking grunge effect. But don't go overboard with it. Once that's dried up, I'm using some Middlestone, kind of a light brown, in my airbrush, and I'm lightly spraying, not saturating the undercarriage, but this is for some road dirt that's been kicked up, heavy in some corners, lighter in the others. I managed to save that little Ziploc bag of extra parts. So here come the bumpers, front and back, looking way too clean. And the little red tail lights. I'll press them in from the outside and then I'll put a touch of super glue on the inside where the plastic rivets were taken out with the soldering iron. Okay, one headlight's in, the other I'm reassembling the lens inside the chrome ring. These are so small. I decided, wow, what about a one-eyed look? I thought of that as soon as I dropped the lens on the floor. Never found it again. You could drop a sandwich on my hobby room floor and never relocate it. So that was invention out of necessity. But it perfectly fits the look of this worn down, beaten up T2. I've taken 20 minutes of video and edited it down to about 45 seconds of reassembly footage for you because it took me 3 or 4 trials and errors before I figured out how to do this again, even though I'd done a couple of dry fits. Should have remembered, but I didn't. But in the end, it all went back together as it should. Thanks again to Welly for the screws that are deeply recessed in there. No leftover parts, which is always a good thing. But I'm not done yet because some of those accessories need a weathering touch, like some rust on the hubcaps and road dust on the wheels. The bumpers get tired out looking. And the windshield too. It's my birthday today, and I am 62, wondering, out of morbid curiosity, if there are any other customizers out there who are older than me. Weigh in the comments. You have all of our sympathy, because you know, like I know, how it feels to be weathered and rusty like this old T2. I think it came out pretty good. I hope you picked up a few weathering techniques. There are many others, but these are some of the ones that I regularly make use of. Even got some torn leather on the side of that front bench that you can see with a peek on the inside. It's all working as it should, including the pullback mechanism. This one looks like it's been out in the Mojave Desert for a long spell. A far cry from the beautiful flower power hippie van that I started with. But it's still a road warrior. It's rolling, just like me. You know, you just couldn't kill these old VW engines. I sure had a lot of fun doing this. Thanks to the Diecast International Builders for hosting this event. Thanks to JDC for this diorama that it's now parked on. Make sure you try to watch all of the other videos that are uploaded. And come on back here soon too. Enjoy the rest of your summer. It's coffee time.